If you've seen this previous video of mine that I uploaded before the expansion release, where I went over all of the things that I hoped the expansion would have or change from SOTO, you basically don't need to watch this video because I swear to God, they actually nailed every single point that I had in that video. This new expansion is everything I wished it would be and more. It's like it was literally made specifically for how I personally enjoy Guild Wars 2, and it's amazing. Guys, I really love Janthir Wilds. This has the potential to actually be my new #1 expansion of all time, and I don't say that lightly. I love the maps. The new Janthir Wilds map just have a new type of vibe to them where you're not just there for a meta event, you can just sort of exist in the world and get immersed and complete random events that also count towards completing the heart quests. Yes, they bring back heart quests for this expansion, but they've essentially like remastered them where they're no longer just a pain in the ass to complete. You actually get better rewards from them, and you even get more rewards the more you do them, each time you do them. Not only that, but you have a wider variety of things that you can do to complete them in a much larger area on the map. Higher quality things to do as well. It's not just pick up rock, you know, press F on this thing. And you can just like also casually complete just normal dynamic events in the area, which also complete the heart. And worst case scenario, you can literally just cash in these tokens to auto complete the hearts if you really want to. It just feels like the way hearts should have been right from the beginning, and I actually enjoy doing them now. Oftentimes they just complete themselves without a thought while I'm like grinding mastery XP or doing achievements in the area. The achievements are awesome too. This actually feels like the first time that I've actually enjoyed doing these like little side quest achievements for mastery points. Instead of like feeling like it's just a grind that I'm doing, just a chore just in order to get enough mastery points. I did this side story achievement the other day called Star-Crossed Lovers, and it was just like this lovely little almost Romeo and Juliet-esque story about these two characters that you help reunite. It had me like going back to some old core maps, and I just had a really great time doing it, as well as getting a mastery point at the end. These new maps just feel kind of like core maps again, which is exactly what I was hoping for. That's what I mentioned in that other video. I'm just like happy to exist in them and spend countless hours chilling out and getting immersed in them. And they're bigger as well. They're bigger than the SOTO maps. And I swear to God, the first map somehow feels even bigger than it actually is. They've just done a great job at making it feel absolutely huge, and I don't really know how. I love the spears. While the new spear weapons are not quite as game-changing as an elite spec is, which many people are going to be comparing them to, the one thing that is actually cool about that is you get to use this new weapon on all 3 of the elite specs. Maybe not every weapon is going to work super well on every elite spec, but it was really fun to try out. It's just cool to have that option. As a revenant main, I was pretty happy that spear actually works very well on all 3 elite specs, just depending on what flavor you want to give it. It's pretty cool. And I had a great time testing it out with all of them. I did end up going with Vindicator, by the way, and you should definitely check out this build that can supply its own quick and a lack. It's great fun for the open world. And I also just think everyone getting the same two-handed weapon is just way better than what we got in SOTO, where everyone got a different random weapon. Two-handed weapons it's just much better because you get more skills than a one-handed weapon, and they have more of their own flavor, more of their own identity, since you're not like pairing it with some other older weapon. It just feels really great to be able to get a legendary spear and use that on every single class as well. I just think this was a really good idea, giving everyone spears. I love the music. The music is so cinematic and folklory, Skyrim-y, like Icelandic, fantasy, adventure-y. It adds so much to the immersiveness of the maps, and I'm really happy about it because the music of Secrets of the Obscure, for whatever reason, just didn't really make me feel much. It didn't feel as iconic. I love the warclaw. It's kind of funny actually. I remember back when I was going through End of Dragons for the first time, I made a conscious effort to try and use my sky scale less and try and use the jackal as my main traversial mount. And there's just something kind of immersion breaking about just sky scale and griffining directly like as the crow flies to wherever you want to go. They're definitely super efficient and useful, and I wouldn't want to get rid of them. But when going through End of Dragons, I wanted to prioritize immersion and sort of taking my time and enjoying it, at least for the first time through. And what they've done with the warclaw mount for Janthir Wilds feels very intentionally trying to complete a similar goal. They've completely remastered how it feels and moves, so it's actually like viable to use now, and it doesn't feel like a huge handicap to be using it instead of the sky scale or something. So it feels good to use without being without the immersion breaking effect that I get from flying mounts. Don't get me wrong, I still use the sky scale here and there, but I definitely use it much less now, and I've changed my default mount keybind to warclaw instead of sky scale. So I use it most of the time now, and it works for the majority of scenarios, and then I can just manually select my sky scale just for when I actually need it, and I've been loving it. I love the auto gathering feature that they added to homesteads. This is single-handedly like the only thing that has finally convinced me to start building up my home gathering nodes. I just hated having to spend like a whole 15 minutes every day gathering like each individual home node one by one. It was the only reason I never bothered to do so. So this is such a nice quality of life that it finally makes it worth it for me. I love the little UI that they added to the legendary relic that tells you how many of the new relics you still have to unlock. I'm even enjoying the story so far, and I've never even been like a huge story enjoyer in this game. The only thing that worries me a little bit is I do remember enjoying the first part of the story in Secrets of the Obscure, and it was the following patches of story in that expansion that really went downhill for me, in my opinion. So I really hope they don't do the same thing with Janthir Wilds, and the follow-up patches story remains just as good as it's been so far. It is off to a great start. I just think ArenaNet have actually knocked it out of the park with Janthir Wilds so far. It's absolutely exceeded my expectations, and it just makes me incredibly excited for the future of this game. Like, if we're going to get an expansion this good every year now, very happy about that. So that's about it. That's about everything from me. Just wanted to share some of that's been brewing around in my noggin. Check out this video as well, where I go over exactly how I made like 1,300 gold in a week. It's pretty cool. You're gonna want to see it. Alright, take it easy, gamers. See you in the next one.